Welcome to the Road to Excellence podcast with your host, Laura Doughty. Are you prepared for the road ahead? Discover how to conquer each day, create joy, and be in the moment. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Road to Excellence podcast. I'm Laura Doughty, your host. As always, I'm so grateful to have you join in and spend some time with me. Today's episode is about expansion and compassion. On my personal road to excellence, I seem to find ways to push my boundaries beyond what I can imagine or comprehend. As I discussed briefly in my first podcast about why excellence, we all take missteps and might prefer a do-over. Well, a recent event that found its way to me was what some would consider quite tragic. Albeit there were times I would have agreed, nonetheless, I'm clear about what excellence lesson this was for me. So let me shed some light on this for you. Very recently, I was hiking in the hills of Malibu near what we call the waterfall, but truth be told, it's only a waterfall in the rainy season. I took a step, looked left, and then took another step, and before I knew it, bam, I was down. I caught my fall with my right hand, twisted my wrist, almost crushing it, and got 2 lacerations on the top of my hand. It really wasn't pretty. Blood was oozing everywhere, and everyone around me was pretty much in a panic mode. But me, because I'm calm and only focused on getting a towel to stop the bleeding. So thank God for adrenaline. All good until 3 days later, my hand puffed up like a blowfish. It was disgusting. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. I thought my hand was going to explode from the inside out. So no more messing around. I went straight to urgent care, but in true California style, I had to stop and ask an herb doctor first. Seriously, I did. If I had any options other than the antibiotics that I was trying to avoid at all costs from the very beginning. As expected at urgent care, they confirmed my hand was infected. So they splinted me up, gave me more pills, and said if the swelling and pain hadn't come down and subsided within 2 days, I needed to see the orthopedic surgeon. So as I leave, I'm thinking about how grateful that I was, because there's actually hope that I'll be okay. I'm also very upset with myself for being so stubborn. Excellence has nothing to do with beating yourself up. It's about assessing what worked and what didn't work. Kind of much like a play on the football field. It was just a wrong move on my part. Well, here's where the expansion and compassion come into play. My entire world shifted. I'm right-handed. I work on the computer about 50% of my day, and whatever your dominant hand is, try taking it out of play for 5 minutes and watch your brain struggle to create a solution. Being single with 2 large dogs, I have to walk them and feed them. They are turning 8 this year, so they eat a weight-managed diet, a little dry, a little wet, and some coconut oil. Well, the wet comes in a can that has yet not evolved to having a pop-top can. So I have to use a manual can opener. Well, no big deal, but try opening a can with your least dominant hand and no use of the other. Taking your makeup off, showering, well, you can't really wash your hair with one hand. It doesn't work. So thank God for blow dry bars. Putting your hair in a ponytail. Try it with one hand. You can't. Why am I detailing this out for you so laboriously? Because I want you to slow down and think. I want to put you in my position. We all, at some point, take our bodies for granted. We don't acknowledge that our hearts beat, we take in oxygen into our lungs, and our brain sends messages to different parts of our body to complete different functions that we're thinking we're commanding, but it's all involuntary. During this recovery period, I went through a phase of depression because my brain was so confused. Your will is so frustrated because it can no longer create your intended reality. I've never been so humbled in my life. Someone made a comment to me during this time about how this was a good life lesson. For me, the word lesson actually has a hint of a negative connotation. Maybe I'm alone in this, but when that was proposed to me in those terms, while I did hear them, what immediately came to me as a response was, for me, this is about expansion and compassion. Because of this incident that I've created in my life, I now have expanded my foothold on what I am and what I am not capable of. This incident took something away from me that I thought in some way was my right, like my heart pumping blood through my body. No, I realize now that every single solitary function that our miraculous bodies complete in every second we are alive is just that. It's a miracle. There's nothing cliche about that. I have lived out these words. Compassion comes in when I think about what if I had lost complete function of my hand? My mind went to those that I have lost their hand or some other appendage, like Amy Purdie, who lost both of her lower legs to bacterial meningitis, or Michelle Salt, who lost her right leg to a motorcycle accident. Before this incident, I've been following both of them and their journeys, and in my pain and sorrow and frustration, I quickly came into reality when I realized how I had a small glimpse into their world. I said small, so please don't react disproportionately. In thinking of them, I was immediately struck by the grace I've been given to only have to deal with what I was dealing with. So when it comes to your road to excellence, remember, the bumps in the road are to expand us and to create more compassion for others. In case you're interested, there's no Hollywood ending here. I'm still on the mend, and keep in mind that at the time of this podcast recording, I'm less than 2 weeks away from my original incident. But I am going to heal. More importantly, my heart has expanded, and I am so grateful. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, live excellence.
Thanks for listening. Be sure you add the Road to Excellence podcast to your iTunes and come back next week for another episode. Any questions or for more information, connect with Laura at liveexcellence.com.